Hello again and welcome to Arch Eats. My name is George Mahey.
I'm Cheryl Bear. This episode of Arch Eats is sponsored by Anheuser-Busch Brewery Tours and Experiences.
As we record today, we're almost 6 weeks past the tornado of May 16th. Today we're going to talk to the person who knows the most about what restaurants have done and continue to do to support tornado relief. Selfless and inspiring efforts all around. And later we'll rant about fast casual counter service and what we would do to speed it up. But first, it's what we can't stop thinking about. And I admit Cheryl and I collaborated on this one. We do have a theme today.
It's the heat's been getting to us, George. That's why we were sharing a brand.
Right, we're on the same Frozen page. Go right ahead.
Well, I've been working the frozen treat circuit around town because it's just starting to get painfully hot here. And one that I have in regular rotation now is Spoonful, the Korean dessert restaurant in West County. So Spoonful serves bingsu, which the way I describe it, it's like shaved ice, but ice cream too. It's the texture and fluffiness of shaved ice, but it is made with frozen cream and milk.
Yes, there's a milk component for sure.
Exactly. So there's a richness to it as well. Texture and weight of shaved ice, but then that ice cream feel as well.
What's your favorite flavor?
I recently tried their Blueberry Fields. It is so good, George. I'm usually a strawberry person. I do like to put fresh fruit on my ice creams. But what got me about this was not only do they put fresh blueberries on it, they make this delicious house-made blueberry sauce. It's not like that sticky, fake stuff. You can tell I really don't like that.
Exactly. That gelatinous stuff.
Yes, this is a lovely house-made blueberry glaze. So they glaze the entire cup of this shaved snow with it, and then they put the fresh blueberries on top. It is so lovely. It's almost like this beautiful berries and cream. I can't say enough about it. It's so refreshing. It's the perfect summertime treat.
Yum. I'm going to take you back 40 years with mine. This is a frozen treat that was created in the 80s by the Dole Food Company, and it was sold at Disney theme parks for decades since.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And it's called Dole Whip, and here it's available at Buzz's Hawaiian Grill in Tower Grove East. And anybody that's been to the Disney theme park in the last 4 decades knows what I'm talking about.
It's wonderful.
It's just one of the most refreshing soft serve products out there. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's kosher, it doesn't have a lot of calories.
It's vegan and gluten-free?
Yes.
I had no idea it was vegan.
It's just so good for you. And it's kind of a mystery the way it's made. I thought it had fresh fruit pulp in it, and now I understand that it's made with a non-dairy dry mix, so it could be powdered pineapple for all I know. However, it's just flat delicious.
Oh, yes.
And you've got to have it in soft serve form. They have it at Buzz's. I understand that it's now available for purchase at retail as of a couple of years ago, but it's not the same. It's kind of like getting Ted Drew's in that frozen case at Schnucks.
Different.
You've got to have the texture of the soft serve or it's not the same. But boy, what a treat on a hot summer day going to Buzz's. Buzz's is a great restaurant, by the way. Some really good Hawaiian food. But go ahead and for sure end it with an 8-ounce cup of Dole Whip.
What a way to cap off a summer day. Well, George, another thing we can't stop thinking about, we have a new venture that we are doing.
Are we going to talk about this?
I think we are. I think we have to.
Should we?
Tickets are going live.
Are we allowed to?
Yes,
okay,
we are.
Go ahead.
Well, we can talk a little bit about it. Well, we can't spill it all, though. That's the whole point. We are launching a dining event series called St. Louis Supper Club. The inaugural one is July 21st. We'd love to tell you the menu. We'd love to tell you the chef involved. We'd love to tell you even where it's at. But the whole point is we can't do that.
That's the whole point. It's a mystery, and it will be at one of the area's hottest restaurants. We will tell you that.
Yes.
But the rest of it is going to remain shrouded.
You won't know where you're going until the day of. It's very exciting.
So basically, you buy your ticket, you don't know where you're going, and you don't know where you're eating. You're just going to know you're going to have a good time. We can guarantee you that.
We can. Hopefully, people will trust us.
Yeah, it's the beginning of a Supper Club series. We're going to do several this year, and I can't we can do it. For tickets, go to stlbag.com/supperclub. We'll be right back.
St. Louis and beer enthusiasts, your next culinary experience is right in your backyard at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery and Tour Center. Visit the campus, get up close with the iconic Budweiser Clydesdales, and even taste beer straight from the finishing cellars. During your stay, you can choose from a variety of experiences, customized to fit your interests and time frame. And each month, the Beer Garden hosts a limited seating beer pairing dinner led by its head chef and beer enthusiast. Your palate will take a journey through a 4-course meal, perfectly complemented with 4 of our carefully selected beverages. Come cheers with Anheuser-Busch. Book your tour or event today by visiting budweisertours.com/STL Tours. And now, back to the show.
As we alluded to in the intro, St. Louis is still reeling from the effects of the EF3 tornado that cut a mile-wide path through parts of the city and county. First responders responded, obviously, as did the restaurant community. And with us today is Danny Eichenhorst, co-founder of Hustle Hospitality Group, which now operates the Fountain on Locust, Steve's Hot Dogs, Steve's Meltdown, as well as the new Steve's Hot Dogs and the Fountain on Del Mar, which are both located in the Del Mar Maker District, and both were impacted by the May 16th tornado. Welcome to Arch Eats, Danny.
Oh, thank you so much, George. I'm so happy to be here.
And thank you. It shouldn't have surprised me that when I toured the affected area, not 30 minutes after the storm, the first person I saw was you walking down Del Mar. And I think we were both a little bit dazed. What was your first impression? Were you in shock, or did you immediately go into, okay, what can I do? Where do I need to be mode?
I've been through this before. So I was a first responder for about a year in Joplin. And so it really threw me back into that mode. I was on the public information side of things back then, but I watched every step of it. And you start with people recovery and first aid, and then you go from there into feeding. And so we first just made sure that our people were okay. And I got our team on securing the building. And then you found me as I was running down the street to check on other people.
You were on your way down to check on your friend, Ben Paremba.
I was. Yeah. And I wanted to find Dallas Holland from Beyond Sweet. I was just making sure her staff was okay because they were hit really, really hard there. And I just wanted to make sure that people were physically okay because it was going to be some time before anybody could really come help.
So as we record today, we're 6 weeks after the fact. What does that block, that 2 blocks, 3 blocks look like now? It looked pretty sad on that day.
Much improved in a lot of ways, but still pretty sad, to be honest. We reopened Steve's just last night. And as you look at our building, we're still missing part of our roof. We've got our windows boarded up. There's a lot of work to be done. The building across the street will be demolished. There's a lot to be done, but you can tell that there's a lot of work and a lot of love going into it, and people are earnestly trying to get it back going.
What was the impact at Steve's and the Fountain on Del Mar? What kind of damage? What did you all experience?
We were so fortunate because we were in this solid cinder block building. So we were left with 4 walls at the end of the day. We had holes in the roof, and our gas lines were ripped out, and our HVACs and our refrigeration were gone, and every major system you could have was damaged. But we also had guests on the patio. We had our employees that were doing things outside. It was because it came on that quickly.
Wow.
And so, at the end of the day, I've just been really left with gratitude that it was not a whole heck of a lot worse, because one of our employees called ahead and told everybody to get everyone in the walk-in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where everyone went, into the walk-in.
Both locations.
Wow.
Yeah.
So having gone through Joplin, you knew what the first steps were that needed to be taken, which was a big advantage. So what's the first thing that needed to be done besides looking after your people? I know that the GoFundMes were a big deal.
Yeah. We started with honestly securing the property. That's the first thing that we had to do. There was so much big damage. And it was my experience in Joplin that there was a second wave of storms. And my worry was that might happen. And when that happened, and I was down there for that part, all the debris kicked up. And it just made everything so much worse. And so we were worried about people's immediate safety. And we did feel that the winds were kicking up. There was still a lot going on. So we were trying to just secure what we could secure. And then we were just trying to save the food before it spoiled. And then really within 2 hours, we had people coming up and knocking on the door asking for food. It happened so much quicker than I really thought it would. But you'll recall, you couldn't get in or out of that neighborhood. And so where were they going to go? And then people were like missing the front half of their home, and they didn't want to be leaving that property. So they'd send one person out. And so we just started making food pretty much immediately over at the fountain using our lunch meat and our bread and our fruit and sending people home with meals. And we kind of took it from there. We got everything secured and we came back first thing the next morning and just kept going. We had people bring out grills and we started cooking for the neighborhood and people started bringing us supplies. And that sort of became a center of action where we would deploy people. We had wheelbarrows and gloves and sunscreen and water and everything you needed to just go out and help. And that's sort of where we started. And we really did that for about a week. We were a real hub. And actually, a lot of other people came and started amplifying the services. We had first aid professionals and SLDC and all kinds of places. So we really transformed it into sort of a headquarters.
And the GoFundMe sprung up immediately, as you said. And
Yeah.
I was just very impressed. 3 or 4 days in, you spoke out and said, we're doing okay. We're in pretty good shape. There are all people that are in a lot worse shape, such as Dallas. Go ahead and give your money to her. She needs it worse than, I just thought that was the most selfless thing I've ever, everybody needs more money after a tornado, right? But I just thought that was just a wonderfully selfless thing to do.
Well, thank you. It broke my heart how random this was. It really felt like, why are we okay? And why are so many people maybe never going to be able to reopen? She lost 5 businesses in one day.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? Her whole livelihood is just on pause. And she is in so many ways like the heartbeat of that neighborhood. She is the OG. Beyond Sweet brings in a ton of people and it's such an asset to our neighborhood. And I really want to see it come back. And it felt risky to say, no, we don't want your money because we don't know what's covered with insurance. We still don't know. And FEMA doesn't help businesses. But we did see that so many other people just didn't have the traction we did. And we needed to share our influence to try and help them out.
It really seems like you talk about turning this into a hub and then you were out deploying people. But it also seems like a lot of people were coming in to help you. From what I can gather, this brought out the best in a lot of people in ways. I'm wondering if you can speak to the level of help and what you really saw in terms of the community support following this.
Yeah, it was completely overwhelming. Like as soon as I arrived the next day, so many fans and friends of the Steve's brand were there just already waiting for us. They brought their own gloves, they brought their own shovels, and they were like, what do you need? And it's funny because situations like that, I think some of those people are going to be friends of mine for the rest of my life. And last night, as we were celebrating the reopening and we did a fundraiser there, so many of them were there. And these are people from so many different microcosms of my life. And now they're all friends, but it's been amazing. And I can't speak highly enough, though, of what we saw with Action St. Louis. That was incredible.
They were unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And there was nothing like that in Joplin, let me tell you. And we all know that it would be great if there was some infrastructure to do that. And hopefully there will be in the future. But thank God we had people like that too.
So several weeks in, Ben Porumba was able to reopen his 3 restaurants. And you opened your 2 restaurants just this week.
Yeah.
How did it go last night? This was this last night.
Yeah. So last night was our test run. It went well. We are running a little bit on a limited menu and some limited hours. There's definitely the feeling that and it's been reported by other people, a lot less demand in that neighborhood right now. And that neighborhood was just starting to emerge. So we've got to play it safe. We've got to wait and see what it is. It's so funny because a couple days prior to the tornado, we had just added a much expanded food menu to the Fountain on Del Mar. And we were just rolling that out quietly and testing it. So now we're reopening with that full menu actually tomorrow. And I'm excited for that to be in the neighborhood. And I really hope it's as well received as it was going to be because it was definitely something that the neighborhood wanted. But there's a lot for us to figure out, I think. And there's a lot for us to see.
Speaking of charitable initiatives, there was something last night that I wasn't able to attend. Tell me how it went, the Take Back the Block concert.
Yeah, so we decided to focus all of our energy on one thing because this disaster has felt so incredibly wide and insurmountable in so many ways. How do you know you're making a difference? So we focused everything on that Del Mar Maker District area. And we thought if we could just focus our energy there and getting these businesses back to work and getting our neighbors back to work, that would really benefit the whole neighborhood. So we had the big goal of raising $50,000 for Del Mar Main Street. And they're this incredible nonprofit I've been working with them for over a year to try to build up this area. And the night of the tornado, they were on the ground with me, just checking in with every business. What do you need? And everybody's needs were so different. Some people needed a new facility. Some people needed to shift to a work from home model and maybe do catering and pop-ups. And other people needed a total rebuild. So they've been working to assess those needs in a way that I think that nobody else can or will. And it was great. We had members of the Urge Funky Butt Brass Band. We probably had 400, 500 people in that tiny little place last night.
Wow. What a party.
It was
I love it.
incredible. And we surpassed $50,000 last night, right?
Congratulations. So with this, will this inspire you to do more of these? Will there be a Take Back the Block concert too? Or what's next? I mean, we know where we are, but what is going to happen next?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's a wait and see. We got to see what the needs are next and how far we can get right now. And I'm always happy to help other people. Some people call me St. Louis's cruise director.
I like that
title. I love it.
So I can throw a heck of a party and we can raise some money. And as soon as we figure out where the best use of all that is, I'm sure we'll be right back at it again.
You were just saying that you felt the block was just starting to really hit this kind of critical mass. What do you feel the future of the block is? I know you don't have the crystal ball. Obviously, you can't say it's definitely going to be this or that, but it was such a visionary project and it felt like people were really responding to it. And this is a big hit to that. But do you see that the momentum will happen again? Are you hopeful, cautiously optimistic? Where do you kind of fall on that? What do you think the future of that district is?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I am trying to manifest some really good stuff.
I love it.
But I mean, the truth is that the reason the needle was moving was because of increased adoption by residents in the area. And those residents, so many of them are displaced or gone. And so it is a concern for us. We're worried that we reopen our doors this week to close them in the fall. So it's going to really take some intentional support from people and people really maybe going outside their comfort zones and changing their traffic patterns and coming to support this area on purpose.
Become more destination dining than it was before.
That's it. And that's the thing. It's like we were building a destination and now so much of the destination has been injured, but we're coming back. We're coming back. And there are things that you can do. I talk to every neighbor and I sort of made this list of how can I help you? How can I help you? And so for people that are looking to help the neighborhood, things like taking a class at Third Degree or Craft Alliance and getting a membership at Made Makerspace and really ordering catering from these restaurants is a big deal too. Host a happy hour if you've got friends you haven't seen for a while. But those sort of things are the lifeblood for these businesses, even if you can't be there every day.
I think that's really important. How do you contribute, whether it's doing a pickup and delivery job or just donating money? It's like, I can't get down there, but boy, I want to help out somehow. How would you tell an individual, what's the best way to do it? There's all these general ways to do it, but are there specific funds or specific companies involved that really focus on, say, the food component?
You know, I think Missouri Restaurant Association is giving a lot of grants, and they do have a way where you can donate there. I think if you want to really donate to specific people, gift cards is a great way. A lot of people will buy a gift card and never spend it. And if you spend it, that's great too, right? It's future business. But I think that's a nice little short-term investment. A lot of people did that during COVID.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, or pick up a T-shirt, right? Or something off their online e-commerce store. That's the stuff that got us through COVID. And honestly, we kind of have to go back to that again.
It's money in the pocket right
That's
now.
it.
It's a great idea.
So obviously this has impacted the restaurants that are in the Del Mar Maker District, but what has this done to your business overall, Hustle Hospitality Group? Have you had to, whether that's pivot people into new positions at different places, what this just means for overall growth and development? How has this impacted
Yeah,
you all?
it's definitely a detour, right? This is something we didn't have planned, but we're Hustle. And that's why we named our company that. We opened during COVID. We've always had to overcome challenges and we're incredibly scrappy. And so I know we'll be okay. But right away, we were placing all of our displaced employees at other locations. And we're super blessed that we get to do that. And we were even more lucky that we were about a week out from Shakespeare in the Park opening. And that's our annual residency for both restaurants. So we've got this tent out there every night but Monday. And we are doing hot dogs and soups and salads and sandwiches and cocktails out in the park every night. And we hadn't allocated all of our staff yet. So we were able to place a lot of people there, which was just wonderful. So right now we were sort of coming down from a big period of growth, preparing for another big period of growth. And right now we're sort of in this wait and see because we don't know the long-term impacts of this. We don't know what's covered, but it's going to be all right. You know, it gives us more time to be thoughtful and considerate of whatever our next move is.
What I like about Hustle Hospitality is this situation kind of dovetails into what you guys were doing already. One of the things you said is you feed the region in more ways than one. And one of them is Steve's Feed the People program. But this is one of many things you do. So this isn't that unusual. It isn't that hard for you to do.
Yeah, it was so in line with who we are. My background was in nonprofits, government, that sort of stuff. And even as a little kid, my neighbor got Parkinson's, and I'm going around the neighborhood with a jar and taking pennies for him so he can go to the doctor. It's just like, that's my nature. That's Steve's nature. And we're always sort of what can we do to help people? And when we got together, it just sort of amplified who we were naturally. And I was like, how can we do something bigger with this energy that we have? And so we made our company's entire mission to uplift and make the St. Louis region a better place for everyone. And that's a lofty goal, but we're doing it in all these little ways.
I was just going to say, you're doing it. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. And you guys are. I just think it's incredible.
Thank
Our
you.
hats are off to you. We're indebted to you. I knew right from the start when I saw you on that street, I said, she's on the case. Danny's on the case. We're in good shape. Danny, I just want to thank you for being you. I want to thank you for joining us today. And
Thank you.
you know, Cheryl and I are there to help you, whatever you want to do, just like you. Tell us where to be. We'll be there.
Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Danny
that.
Eichenhorst.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
This episode of Arch Eats is supported by Kranzberg Arts Foundation's Maddie. Maddie is back September 12th through the 14th. 3 days, 15 stages, and over 100 unforgettable performances. Catch legends like Common and Pete Rock, Patti LaBelle, and De La Soul. Groove with R&B stars Lucky Day and Leon Thomas. Feel the soul of jazz with Branford Marsalis and Pedrito Martinez, and bring the funk with John Badesky and the SOS Band. Enjoy live music, art exhibits, food trucks, vendors, and good vibes, all in the streets of the Grand Center Arts District. Grab your passes now at maddystl.org. And now, back to the show.
You know, Cheryl, that was such a feel-good segment. I almost hate to end with a micro rant, but we always do, so we will. And today, it's about counter service registers and when there's only one. You've probably been in this situation. You're in a fast casual restaurant, you place an order, and sometimes placing the order can take as long as eating the order because the lines are so darn long. And I just think that is a big problem and is something that is easily solved. One option is to open another register. Just open it as needed, like they do in the grocery store. Are you hip to that? Are you okay with that?
Well, I am. I mean, the whole point is fast casual.
Yeah.
So when you just want to pop in for a cup of coffee and a pastry, or even just a cup of coffee, and you have a table of 5 asking every which question, ordering multiple courses, that's fine that they want to do that, but there needs to be another avenue for those of us who want to get out.
Yeah, you don't want to
quicker.
put the slow and fast casual.
No.
You don't want to be that guy.
Exactly.
But a better long-term fix is to install one of these self-order kiosks, or maybe 2 of them. These things have proven to be time savers, sales producers, skip-the-line options. I didn't like these things initially, and I really do now just for that reason. You see a long line, hit the kiosk.
Yeah, I'm usually not a fan of those either, but this is the one time where they serve their purpose well.
That's it. Do it, restaurant owners. That's all for this week, folks. This is Arch Eats. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends. And we always provide links in the show notes for everything you heard about today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow along on Instagram at St. Louis Mag. And feel free to give us a follow personally at George Mahey and Cheryl A. Bear.
If you loved what you heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And if you're hungry for even more content, you can subscribe to our dining newsletters for the freshest coverage on the local restaurant and culinary scene.
Best dishes, and see you next time.